Okay. So guys, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a story of how my very first business failed. Yes, I had a business that failed. I started a business and it failed. In as much as when that happened, I was really ashamed of myself, but at some point I needed to stop being ashamed of myself, and I picked the lesson that I learned from that my business. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the lessons that I learned in that my first business and why it failed. In fact, I'm going to be sharing with you what went wrong, how it failed, and every other thing in between. Okay. However, I'm going to be starting from beginning to share the story with you. Sometimes in 2017, I had my 8 to 5 job and I was working there. And in the process of working that job, I was learning Facebook advertising. So I was helping my clients to run Facebook ads as well, which was really fetching me some money. And sometimes in 2018, I met an old friend who was also into graphic designing. That was her side hustle anyway. And she had her own 8 to 5 job as well. And that continued. Sometimes in 2019, I decided to quit my job and was looking for a space for us to start that business. But at some point, my friend relocated and she wasn't in the same city with me anymore. So I said to myself, no, that I have to do this for myself. So that was how I got a space for myself and then started a business. And in that process as well, before I started the business, I learned website designing. So I had three skills. No, I had two skills: Facebook advertising and also website designing. And as well, I sent my younger sister to go learn graphics and printing. So these were the services that I wanted to render in that my business: graphic printing, website, and also Facebook advertising. So this continued, and I had to look for a space for my business. So I actually had a space, and I paid for that. I bought some of the graphic design, the computers, the some of the graphic design machine that was needed, like direct image printing machine, and also some heat transfer. So I actually got these machines for myself, and I started running the business. Now, in the process of running the business, I got to realize that Facebook advertising, website design wasn't really a service that was coming often. The services that was coming often in my business was graphic and printing. So those were the two major services I was rendering. And because I didn't have the knowledge of graphic and printing, it was really a huge workload for my younger sister, who wasn't really she had the skill, but she's not skillful enough to do all those things by herself. In as much as I was learning from her and surfing through the internet as well, and doing my own stuff and learning as well. So I actually started that business, that is graphic and printing, without initial knowledge. So I didn't learn the skill of graphic and printing, in as much as along the line I was learning, but the income wasn't enough. Okay, so I started a business. That was the first mistake that I made. I started a business without having a prior knowledge of it. Okay, and then the location of the business didn't help matters as well. The location was actually at the outskirts of town, and no, not really, it wasn't really at the outskirts of town. It was just that there was no, it's not a busy area. And graphic and printing really need to be in a busy area so that people can easily walk in and do their printing and photocopy and other things, then they can easily go out. But there was no much work in it. So I didn't have people coming into my business, and there was no money. There was no enough money coming into my business because of the location. That is the first one. Okay, so the first one is I didn't have the prior knowledge, and the second one was the location. So the third one is I never had a record. I wasn't keeping records. Okay, this is simply bookkeeping, the sales records, the stock records, and the last one was the debtors record. I didn't have any of all those things. So a person can easily come to my business and take a thing. I wouldn't record it, and I wasn't keeping records. I wasn't keeping records of my sales or my services. I wasn't keeping records of my stocks. I wasn't even keeping records of the debtors, people who I borrow stuff from. I didn't do that. So I was spending more than I was earning. Okay, so this made me to be losing money. I wasn't getting enough money. Remember, I had to pay my rent, I had to pay my bills, my light bills. So because the money that was coming in wasn't enough, I didn't know what to do. Like, I became weak, and it was really, really exhausting, because as a business person, you had to pay yourself, then pay your rent as well. So I was paying all those things, and I wasn't saving up enough money for myself. I was even spending the one I had. Okay, and even my younger sister, who was also my staff then, I wasn't even able to pay her. So this was really, really daunting on me. Yes, it was done on me that this is not what I bargained for. Okay, and then what I did wrong as well, which is actually the last one, is I didn't have the technical know-how, like how to operate those machines that I bought. I told you guys that I had a direct image machine and also a heat transfer machine. I didn't know how to operate them. I didn't just know how to operate them. So that was the mistake that I made. And then at some point, I became angry with myself. I was really complaining in a lot. Like, I was complaining a lot. So I had to tell my friends and families, and I just have to quit. So at some point, I was advised to quit, and I quit. That was how the business failed, and I stopped that business. So those were the four things that went wrong. Those were the four mistakes that I made in that my first business. I didn't learn the business. I didn't. The location wasn't good, and I never had stock records. I never know how to operate the machines that I needed for my business. So that was how the business failed. And then I had to re-strategize to start another business. So this is me inspiring you as a businessman or as a businesswoman, for you to learn the mistakes that I made while starting my first business, so you don't make or repeat the same mistakes that I made. Okay, and also this is just kind of an inspiration, or to tell you, or to share with a person who had a failed business, that you shouldn't feel ashamed of yourself. Okay, you shouldn't be ashamed of yourself. I told you guys that initially I was feeling ashamed of myself, but at some point I had to pick up my pieces and start all over again. Okay, so the lessons I learned in my first business, the mistake that I made in my first business, I had to change them and do some things right in my second business, and that is why that second business is really, really progressing now. All right, so guys, this is me sharing the mistakes that I made in my first business. Tell me in the comment section if you have had a business that failed and how you were able to pick up your pieces. And thank you so much for watching this video to this point, and please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and also like this video. Yes, I know you like it. As long as you've watched to this point, you like this video. Okay, thank you so much guys, and I will see you all in my next video.